We are honored today to have a great scholar among us who can shed some light on that. As it goes with scholars, all scholars disagree. That's why we have them, because the debate in the end will probably give us a feeling of what really is happening, and we'll have a great contribution to that today, to that debate today by Professor Andrei Schleifer, Professor of Economics at the Harvard University. Great to have you here, Andrei.
He's won the Clark Medal in the US, and he's the most cited economist in the last 10 years in business and economics. So his record is pretty well established, okay? He'll probably talk to us about the financial crisis, okay? And, every other economist now after the crisis, okay? But he's very interested in trying to put this story together, more seriously. So he'll talk about his views. He'll probably tell us how to put it together and what we should expect to see, in the years to come in terms of regulation and how to deal with the mess that it's being created. With that, I leave you, Andrei. Thank you very much.
The topic today is the financial crisis and the future of capitalism. I have quite a long presentation, so I'm hoping to go over several topics or several areas, and just to try to give some background or at least a perspective on some of the issues related to the crisis. In talking about the crisis, I think it's incredibly easy to fall into the mistake of just thinking about what the newspapers have published yesterday or in the last 2 weeks. And for that reason, I think it's important to have some perspective on what has happened in the world, maybe over a somewhat longer period of time. And I would like to start there. So I'll divide my comments into 4 parts. First, I'll start with some of this background on what happened to the world economy, if you like, in the last 25 or 30 years in the age of globalization. The reason I start with that is, of course, the financial crisis has caused a lot of people to question the benefits of globalization, the benefits of free markets, the benefits of the financial system that has emerged in the world economy. So I think, again, before one starts with the crisis, one needs to remember what we have. Then I'll try to talk about the crisis and the solutions that have been developing around the world. And finally, I will try to look forward and try to discuss what will happen to capitalism or regulation or financial regulation more specifically. So what this picture shows is what happened to the various indices. I'm not going to go into the detail of these indices, of the prices of AAA securities. You can see that these indices are nosediving. Starting in July of 2007, prices and going to February, prices of some of these issues go from 100 to 40 or 50. Now, remember, this is the stuff that is supposed to be absolutely safe, okay? So what we have is banks in the United States, but also, as I'll mention, in the rest of the world, insurance companies, money market funds, which are these incredibly important institutions which everybody relies on for the safe part of their savings, are holding hundreds of billions of dollars, trillions of dollars of securities. They expect to be completely safe, and this security is going down in price by a factor of 2. My opinion, just to summarize, is not that this is the end. First of all, as I've already tried to emphasize, this is not, or at least it doesn't look anywhere like the Great Depression. Even some of the worst case scenarios that people in the United States talk about mention the fact that unemployment can go to 10 or 11%. And this is not unemployment for people who are unprotected by any kind of social insurance. This is unemployment of people who are protected and will stay protected by social insurance. So it's a very different phenomenon. It is quite possible, so capitalism will survive, and it will survive to a substantial extent in the form that we've seen. It is possible that financial repression will follow. It is possible that we'll see nationalization of banks. It's possible that we'll see severe controls on lending and trading as the government tries to unblock, if you like, the lending mechanism. But I suspect that these mechanisms are not going to be permanent, and that hopefully with much better regulation, the system will remain in its broad outlines similar to what we've had in the last 25 years.